Good afternoon, friends. I want to start by saying how deeply honored I am to stand here today and have an opportunity to speak with you and share some thoughts with you about my friend and brother, Bernie Marcus. Anybody in this sanctuary, I understand fully. I represent each one of you, and your stories and your life is connected to Bernie. I'm also incredibly grateful for the beautiful words that have been shared. Freddie, thank you so much, and Michael, thank you so much. Freddie, Michael, Billy, I love you all very, very much. And Suzanne's spirit is here with us today. And I know that as we celebrate her father's remarkable life, Susan is in our presence and celebrates her father as well. And Kenny, many of my memories of Bernie include you, and it's an honor to be here with you today. And I'm anxious to look forward to hearing from you shortly. The loss we are feeling is something that we cannot measure, and that speaks to the legacy and love that Bernie leaves behind. Bernie and I shared a relationship that spanned almost 60 years, well before and well after the birth of the Home Depot. It's difficult to put 60 words of beautiful memories into words, some of the most impactful memories of my life. For more than half a century, he and Billy were like second family to me and are like second family to me. Bernie was a father figure, another brother to me, a mentor to me, and in my eyes, he was a true hero in every sense of the word. I was blessed to have spent some time with Bernie just over a week ago. We both sort of knew that this may be the last time we would be together on this earth. Billy joined us for a short while during our visit. After Billy left, Bernie turned and looked at me deeply into my eyes the way I think, Freddie, you described, or Michael, you have described as well, and said to me, and we locked 60 years of life together, looking at each other, and he said, "You know, I'm dying." I shared with him at that time that my belief is while his physical being would leave us eventually, his magnificent presence would be with us forever. And this is because he lived a life with a giving, serving spirit and a selfless soul that will always be reflected in the millions of lives he touched in more ways than any of us can fully comprehend or imagine. His impact through Home Depot customers, our associates, our shareholders, and philanthropy goes beyond his physical being and will live on forever. While Bernie had his personal passions and beliefs and views, his heart and commitment to helping others was grounded in his devotion to bettering humanity. He was a man for all, ALL, and believed in the basics of working hard, being a good person, and helping those around him to achieve levels of success, joy, love, and peace in their lives. Bernie and I had many points of personal connection. We were both first-generation Jewish sons of Eastern European immigrant parents. We both had very strong mothers that we were close to. However, Bernie, our friendship and our love was not based on being the same. It stood on respect and love, trust, and the understanding we both wanted the best for the world around us and for each other. No matter how different we viewed a particular scenario, he respected my point of view, and I respected his. and we never let those differences get in the way of our love for each other, ever. One of the key values of Home Depot, that Home Depot is built upon in all of our family of businesses currently, is listen and respond. It was signified by this dynamic between Bernie and myself. We were great listeners of each other with shared respect, something that we all pray the United States can get better at in today's political and social climate. I met Bernie 10 years after my father died. I was 25 years old. I lost my dad when I was 15. He was 44. For the very first time Bernie and I met, I knew he was someone who would inspire me, challenge me, and push me to think bigger and be the best that I could be. I also came to know that our mutual respect would make our bond forever strong. Through every chapter of my life, Bernie was there, at my highest highs, to my lowest lows, and every moment in between, much like Michael described. He was a constant anchor for me, a source of wisdom, support, someone I could always rely on. Bernie knew my mother and brother well as my wives and my children, 3 of them, 6 of them, 6 grandchildren. Bernie knew them all, much like the family that Michael described. Some of my children and one of my wives is here today. And they would have to have a separate cheering section over here. And he really helped me navigate every stage of life's journey, and especially as a father, as I was a father. Bernie was a life and business partner to not only me, but to many that are here and well beyond this room. He was also a part-time doctor as well, always concerned about my and everybody else's health and well-being, always offering his pharmaceutical and doctoral knowledge when he thought he could help. And he viewed himself as a sort of medical doctor. I know countless people could share in my selfless experiences with Bernie in that regard. And many times, much as others have described, he was my rabbinic counselor in respect to Rabbi Sugarman and Rabbi Berg, but he considered that an important part of his life role, providing me with invaluable knowledge and counsel on a variety of life's journeys. So, Governor Kemp, you were not alone in that regard. Trust me. His dedication to his faith was extraordinary, admirable. Bernie always stood strong in what he believed in. Many people sought him out for advice, and I know he felt honored to be a source of wisdom to countless people. He made me better, a better businessman, a better person, and a better friend. And I hope and I pray in some small ways I was able to do the same for Bernie. He was, without a question, a brilliant businessman and one of the most visionary humans I've ever known. He lived in the present, but also spotted opportunities not only around the corner, as Freddie described, but around the block, around the neighborhood, around the city, around the nation, and often around the world with great clarity. He could be tough when he needed to be, but that tough exterior was paired with a heart bigger than anyone could have imagined. No one cared more deeply than Bernie when it came to our relationships with our Home Depot customers, our associates, our suppliers, and our shareholders. It was an honor to work alongside Bernie, Ken, Frank Blake, Greg Menier, Ted Decker, all here today, who have helped convert shareholders, not for things they could acquire, but help enable shareholders inside of our company and worldwide with a value of $400 billion today to make their urgent needs, their life needs, and their dreams, their family dreams for themselves and for their families and for things that they cared deeply about, make all of that a reality. We would get thousands and thousands of letters from shareholders that still flood the offices of the Home Depot. He was always truly invested in shared success and turning that success into more opportunities for more people. He had an urgency about that. He was always the fastest walker on the floors of many of our stores, and that was true on the golf course when I played with him, at least Billy. I'm not sure with you, but with me, I hardly could keep up with him. But that fast pace was his pace of life, and the commitment stayed with him, if not physically, and mentally, until the very end. Bernie was a dedicated political force. To me, Republican, Democrat, political party labels are down here amongst all of us. Bernie existed on a much higher plane. Stand on the Bema today. Above me is the Ark that both rabbis alluded to earlier. And above the Ark is the eternal light. Bernie lives in that eternal light above all of this. He was not a mega donor, despite the media labeling him as such. He was much bigger than that. Much bigger than that. He was a mega humanitarian. Bernie is the true textbook definition of a humanitarian. With over billions of dollars and countless hours in giving, Bernie and Billy's heart for our city and our state and humanity across the globe has been unmistakable and unshakable. A few examples that highlight this giving, many of which have been mentioned earlier, but they're not tied to either red or blue. They're tied to H for humanitarianism, include the Georgia Aquarium, largest in the world, Shepherd Center, Billy Marcus Building, Marcus Center for Advanced Rehab, Avalon Action Alliance, treatments and support for veterans and first responders, TBI, PTSD, substance abuse, Grady Hospital, Marcus Stroke and Neuroscience, and Marcus Trauma and Emergency Center, Marcus Autism Center inside the Children's Hospital today, Jewish causes around the world, and CDC through the Emergency Response Center. None of the above bear any party label. None of his patients, brilliant care providers, none of the visitors, none of what Bernie supported or cared for were party labeled. They were labeled for Bernie as humanity, period, full stop. Our support for one another extended far past Home Depot, and our foundations partnered together and still do today deeply. Avalon Children's Hospital, Shepherd Center, Grady, and much more. And we've always partnered together based on our shared personal values, which in many cases came as a result of our parents, and particularly, I would say, in both cases, our mothers. Bernie cared deeply about medical advancements, patient care, veteran population, international causes, his beloved Israel, and always prayed for peace in the Middle East. These passions stem from his selfless desire to create change that would leave an impact on this world, and he certainly did. His legacy of leadership and charity will continue to have a massive impact on this world for generations to come. He was an innovator, a man who never settled for standing still, who constantly looked for ways to improve, to help create. Most importantly, and more than anything else, Bernie's devotion to his family was a constant inspiration. I will never forget the smile on his face when we talk about Billy and their children and their grandchildren, and to see how he cherished and protected those he loved, how he put them first always, was something to admire. And he would reach back with even his first marriage to Ruth and care for her and care for interests that were connected to her. As a couple, Bernie and Billy were a force, and I'm honored to have witnessed their beautiful, unwavering love. They walked through life hand in hand, figuratively and literally, through shared passion for golf, for giving, and for family. And Billy, one thing that probably doesn't surprise you, he would share with me stories about your beloved baths together. And at times go into a little further detail. But, so I just kind of wonder, you know, and you may wonder, how many other thousands of people heard those incredible stories. And Bernie was one of the great storytellers of all time, and I was one of the great audiences of all time for his jokes and stories and whatever, and I've heard every story hundreds of times, and every time I would laugh at each one, and I would, truly deep belly laughs. Bernie's mind was sharp, his heart was huge, and his spirit was unwavering in everything he did. And during our last moments together, unsolicited, he offered me counsel on our Atlanta Falcons. He always gave me great advice about our team, whether I solicited or not, and he was usually right. And you should know that, you know, a short while ago, less than 2 weeks ago, he was very complimentary about your team, but he reminded me that we had a lot of games left to play. We may have opened the first 1,000 stores, but we had 1,300 version of that to go, and I said I totally understand that. Finally, as he tired, and I got ready to leave, I asked, and no reason to ask because I knew what was coming, what life wisdom he would have for me. And he reminded me to stay active, both physically and mentally. So Bernie, message received, and each day I do my best to do just that in every way that I can. So I'm still listening and hearing Bernie in every part of my body. That is Bernie personified, using our last moments to give me the gift of his helpful wisdom, his love, as he always did. While the success of the Home Depot Steals is surreal to many of us, it is the simple moments with Bernie that I carry deep in my heart. In the early days, driving around, visiting Home Depot stores, we'd look at each other in awe, tap each other with our elbows, say, "Can you believe what's happening?" We had lunch together almost every day for 8 years. Not only would he order the pastrami, set it with the pickles, but usually would take a second or third tub of pickles. Occasionally I'd order the same thing. Occasionally I'd order a grilled bratwurst, and I'd say, "That looks good, I'm going to order that the next day." But we knew what each we were going to have for lunch for 8 years together, virtually every day. It's those simple memories, those lunches and lessons which are precious to me personally. I remember those beautiful days like they were yesterday, truly, and I'll remember them every day forward. It's impossible to measure the impact that Bernie had on my life. I could stay here, stand here, and talk about him all day, as many of you could, and most of you could. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, and I know that Kenny is anxious to share his thoughts, and will be up here in a moment. But he touched so many people, and this love and gratitude everyone has for him speaks volumes about who he was as a person. I personally will miss him more than the words can ever express, but I take comfort in knowing his legacy is strong and will live on. It will continue in everything he built, in the lives he touched, in the family he adored. I would say in closing, it's the kind of thing that Bernie would want me to say. His physical body is irreplaceable. But just as you see this eternal light shining above, he would say to me, to everybody connected in this circle of love, that we now have a responsibility, a serious responsibility. The best way to honor Bernie is by living a life that emulates, respects, salutes the best of who he is, not was, but is, and the best of who we are. May you rest in peace. I know you will. You deserve it. So, Mensch, in some ways I'd say I cannot imagine a world without you, but I actually imagine a world without Bernie physically, but with his inspiration and his leadership and his role modeling and his example setting will actually live on and continue to multiply over tens and tens of years to come and continue to impact millions of people, people that we will never know personally, but they will all know of Bernie Marcus and how Bernie touched each of their lives. The scripture that you've heard many times today, I'll close with, is that defines you and your life's impact, is that life, his life, 95 rich, magnificent years, has been for a blessing and will continue to be for a blessing because of his values, his principles, and his ask of us to continue to be the best who we are and the best of who he is and was as we continue to face the challenge and opportunities in life. God bless you, my dearest Bernie, and thank you all for being here with us today. Thank you. Thank you.